Hi everyone, this is the Nordic Venture Show, your guide to the exciting world of Nordic startups and venture capital. In today's episode, we're exploring a startup called Measurlabs.
All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into this company, Measurlabs.
Okay.
They're all about material testing.
Right.
And, I was thinking about this earlier and how, we use so much stuff every day, but how often do we actually, stop and think? How do we know that, this is safe to use?
Right. How do we know that our, food packaging isn't going to, leach harmful chemicals into our food or
Exactly.
or that, a medical device is actually going to be biocompatible?
And it's not going to,
Yeah.
cause problems down the line, right?
Right.
So that's where Measurlabs comes in. And what's really interesting about them is they kind of act as this one-stop shop for all sorts of different material testing needs.
Yeah. They work with over 900 labs or something like that.
900 labs?
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
Yeah. So they can cover pretty much any type of material testing you can imagine.
So I was looking at their website, and they do everything from SM analysis to viscosity testing to I don't even know how to pronounce half this stuff.
It's very specialized.
Extractable and leachable testing. What even is that?
I know.
I read the article on their blog, but
We'll get to that.
yeah, we're going to get into all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they partner with all these different labs, and it's really giving you access to this massive network of expertise.
Mm.
And one of the things I found really interesting is that they helped this company called Orthex, which is a Finnish houseware company.
Okay.
And they helped them reduce their testing costs by 20%.
Wow.
Just by finding the right labs and streamlining the process.
That's huge, especially for a company. Cost is always a big factor.
Right, exactly.
But it's not just about saving money. It's also about getting the best quality testing right.
Right, because what's the point of saving money if you're getting
Exactly.
par results?
You need reliable data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do they actually ensure that all these 900 different labs are all meeting the same standards?
Well, it seems like they have a pretty rigorous process.
Okay.
So first of all their partner labs have to be accredited.
What does that even mean?
So they have to meet international standards like ISO 17025.
Okay.
And that basically means that they've gone through this really thorough evaluation process to prove that they're competent and they follow strict procedures for everything they do.
So it's a stamp of approval from the scientific community.
Exactly. It's a global seal of approval.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then Measurlabs doesn't stop there.
Oh.
They actually go a step further and they do their own internal quality checks on top of that.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like having a second set of eyes to make sure everything's up to snuff.
That's pretty impressive. They're really serious about this whole quality thing.
They are. It's like double checking the homework.
Yeah.
Making sure that everything is accurate and reliable.
Which makes sense, especially when you're talking about medical devices or food packaging.
No, absolutely. The stakes are high.
You don't want to mess around with that stuff.
No, you need to know that the results you're getting are accurate.
Right. And speaking of expertise, I was also looking at their team, and they have a whole roster of specialists.
Yeah.
With PhDs in everything from chemistry to food development to
Right. It's not just lab technicians.
Yeah.
These are experts in their fields.
Yeah.
Who can provide insights beyond just here are your test results.
Right. It's like having a whole team of science advisors on call.
Exactly.
Which I think is really cool because you're not just getting the data, you're also getting the interpretation.
And the guidance.
It's the guidance, exactly.
What does this actually mean for your product?
Yeah, and it makes me think of one of their blog posts I was reading about extractables and leachables.
Okay.
Now, I'd never even heard of that term before.
Sounds scary.
It does sound kind of scary.
What is leaching out of my stuff?
Yeah, but it's actually a really important concept, especially when you're talking about medical devices or anything that's going to be in contact with the body for a long period of time.
Right, because you don't want unknown chemicals or substances migrating into your body.
Exactly. And so they have this whole team that's dedicated to medical device testing. And they can guide you through the whole process of selecting the right tests, interpreting the result.
And making sure you're complying with all the regulations?
Yeah, because the regulations can be a whole other beast.
Oh, yeah. Especially for medical devices.
So it's good to have someone who knows the ins and outs of all that.
Right, yeah.
So we've talked about the lab network, the quality control, the expert team.
Mm-hmm.
What else makes Measurlabs stand out?
Well, I think one thing is their focus on specific industries.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about that.
So they have like dedicated teams and expertise in areas like food packaging, construction materials,
Okay.
cosmetics, even environmental testing.
So it's not just like a general material testing company. They actually have like specialized knowledge in these different sectors.
Exactly.
And I was reading some of their blog posts, and they have some really interesting articles.
Oh, yeah. Which one caught your eye?
Well, one was about PFAS in food packaging.
Oh, yeah. PFAS, the forever chemicals.
Everyone's talking about PFAS these days.
It's a hot topic for sure.
And it's kind of scary to think about like how these chemicals can persist in the environment and potentially end up in our food.
Right. And they can be harmful to our health.
Yeah, so Measurlabs can actually test for PFAS compliance based on both EU and US regulations.
Which can be really tricky because the regulations are different in different regions.
Yeah, so if you're a company that's trying to sell products globally, you need to make sure you're meeting all those different standards.
And Measurlabs can help you navigate that.
Exactly.
Takes a lot of the guesswork out of it.
And another article I found really interesting was about microplastic analysis.
Oh, yeah, that one's fascinating.
It's crazy how they can analyze water samples and detect these tiny little plastic particles.
Right, it's like having a microscope on the world around us.
Yeah, and it's really important to understand like how widespread this microplastic pollution is and what the potential impacts are.
Absolutely.
So they're not just testing for like safety and compliance, they're also doing testing that helps us understand the environment and address like these global challenges.
Exactly.
And then there's this cool case study they have about this company called Metsä Spring.
Okay, I'm not familiar with.
So they're developing this fiber-based packaging called Muto.
Okay, interesting.
And it's like this really innovative, sustainable packaging solution.
So like an alternative to plastic.
Yeah, and Measurlabs worked with them to make sure that this packaging met all the European food contact compliance standards.
Oh, okay, so they were helping them bring this new product to market safely.
Exactly, and it just shows how material testing is not just about like checking boxes and meeting regulations.
Yeah.
It's also about supporting innovation and helping companies develop new and potentially like groundbreaking products that are also safe and sustainable.
It's like they're enabling progress
Yeah, exactly.
while ensuring responsibility.
Yeah, so for our listener, imagine you're developing a new product.
Okay.
Anything from like a food container to a medical implant. Measurlabs can basically guide you through that whole process from testing to compliance.
They take a lot of the burden off of your shoulders.
Right, and they have the expertise, the network, the commitment to quality. And especially for like smaller companies or startups who might not have all those resources in-house.
Yeah, it can be a game changer
I think it's really valuable
to have a partner like that.
to have a partner who can kind of help you navigate this whole world of material testing.
Right. It can be really daunting, especially if you're not familiar with it.
It can be very overwhelming.
So yeah, Measurlabs definitely simplifies things
Yeah, they make it a lot less scary, for sure.
and a lot more accessible for everyone.
All right, so that's kind of like a high-level overview of Measurlabs, but we're going to dive into some more specifics in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to it.
So stay tuned.
We'll be back after a short break.
It's like they're taking all the stress out of material testing and saying, hey, you focus on your amazing product and we'll make sure it meets all the requirements. And speaking of making things easier, I was really impressed by their website.
Oh, yeah. What do you like about it?
Well, first of all, it's super user-friendly. Like, you can actually find detailed pricing information for their services right there on the site.
Oh, wow. So no more like hidden fees or having to request a quote and wait forever?
Exactly. It's all right there, transparent and upfront, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, that transparency is huge. It builds trust, right? Like you know what you're getting into from the start.
Absolutely. And they even have this cool customer portal
Oh, really?
where you can like track your projects, access results, and communicate with their team all in one place.
So it's like a one-stop shop for managing all your testing needs.
Exactly. It's so streamlined and organized.
It's like they've taken this process that could be really complex and just like made it super easy.
Totally. And another thing I love is their blog.
Oh yeah, their blog is great.
It's not just like a dry technical resource. It's actually really engaging and informative.
Yeah, they do a really good job of explaining complex topics in a way that's easy to understand.
Right. Like I was reading their article on fire classification for construction materials.
Okay.
And they break down this whole EN 135011 standard.
Which sounds super intimidating.
Right. Like what even is that? But they explain it in a way that like even I could understand it.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And it made me realize like, wow, there's so much testing that goes on behind the scenes for literally everything.
Right. Like We just take it for granted.
But like everything from the clothes we wear to the buildings we live in has been tested to make sure it's safe.
It's a whole hidden world that we don't really think about.
Until something goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Measurlabs is kind of like pulling back the curtain and showing us how all this testing works.
And they do it with a sense of humor, too.
Yeah, they're not afraid to have a little fun with it.
Like, I was reading their article on viscosity testing. It was actually really funny. Like, it made me want to go measure the viscosity of everything in my kitchen.
I know, right? They have this way of making, like, even the most technical stuff seem interesting.
Yeah, their enthusiasm is contagious.
Okay, so we've talked about their expertise, their technology, their commitment to quality. But I also want to highlight their customer service.
Oh, yeah, that's super important.
Because it's not just about getting a test result right.
No, it's about having a partner who understands your needs and can guide you through the process.
Exactly. And Measurlabs has a dedicated team of experts who are available to answer questions, offer advice.
Like, they're there to support you every step of the way.
Right. And that can be invaluable, especially if you're dealing with a complex project or you're not really sure what kind of testing you need.
It's like having a personal material testing consultant on your side.
Exactly. And they really do take care of everything.
From finding the right labs, to interpreting the results, to making sure you're meeting all the regulations.
It's like they're saying, leave the testing to us, we've got you covered.
And they do. They really do. They have this level of professionalism and efficiency that's really impressive.
So if you're looking for a material testing partner that's not just technically competent,
but also provides like amazing customer support,
Measurlabs is definitely worth checking out.
They're a true one-stop shop for all your material testing needs.
With the expertise, the technology, and the customer focus to make the whole process smooth and successful.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, we talked about their commitment to transparency earlier, and I think it's worth emphasizing again because it really sets them apart.
Yes, it's so refreshing to see a company that's so open and honest.
They're not just transparent about their pricing and their processes, but they're also incredibly open about sharing their knowledge and insights.
Like their blog is a perfect example of that.
It's packed with articles, case studies, expert opinions.
All aimed at educating and empowering their clients and the wider community.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're not hoarding our knowledge. We want to share it with the world.
And by doing so, they're not only building trust, but they're also fostering this culture of collaboration and innovation.
Right. Like they're creating a space where people can learn from each other, share ideas, and push the boundaries of what's possible in the world of material testing.
It's so cool to see a company that's so passionate about sharing its knowledge.
And knowledge is power, as they say.
And Measurlabs is putting that power into the hands of everyone who needs it.
Beautifully said. Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to leave our listener with a challenge.
Ooh, a challenge. I like it.
Okay, so we've explored all these different ways that Measurlabs is making material testing easier, more accessible, more efficient. But what about the future of material testing?
Okay.
Like, what innovations or breakthroughs do you think are on the horizon?
That's a great question. Let me think. Well, I mean, we're seeing so much advancement in AI these days.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see AI-powered testing platforms that can analyze materials in real time or something like that.
That'd be amazing.
Right. Or like new non-destructive testing methods that are even faster and more accurate.
And what about sustainability?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, how can material testing help us develop more eco-friendly products and reduce our environmental impact?
Yeah, those are some really interesting things to think about. Like, how can we use material testing to not only make sure things are safe, but also to make the world a better place?
Exactly. It's not just about meeting regulations. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible and making sure that the materials we use are sustainable and good for the planet.
Absolutely. So if you're feeling inspired and you want to learn more, I highly recommend checking out Measurlabs' website and their blog.
Oh yeah, their blog is like a goldmine of information.
Seriously, you can deep dive into all sorts of topics, like the safety of children's toys, or the fire resistance of building materials, or even the latest developments in biodegradable plastics.
And they have all these detailed explanations of different testing methods and case studies that show how they're working with real companies.
It's all presented in such a clear and engaging way, even if you're not a scientist, You can tell they're really passionate about making this field accessible to everyone.
Yeah. They definitely have a knack for explaining complex stuff in a way that's easy to understand and actually kind of fun.
Exactly. And that passion is really what makes Measurlabs stand out. They're not just a testing company. They're like a team of dedicated experts who are genuinely excited about the work they do.
It's like they're saying, come join us on this journey of discovery. Let's explore the fascinating world of materials together.
Okay, so to wrap up our deep dive today, I'd like to leave our listener with one final thought.
Okay, hit me with it.
We've talked a lot about how Measurlabs is making material testing easier, more efficient, more accessible. But I think the real takeaway here is the importance of awareness.
Ooh, I like that.
As consumers, we have a right to know what goes into the products we use and how they're tested.
Absolutely. We shouldn't just blindly trust labels or marketing claims.
Right, we should be informed and ask questions. And thanks to companies like Measurlabs, we have the resources and the knowledge to do just that.
So next time you pick up a product, whether it's a toy or a piece of clothing or a new gadget,
Take a moment to think about the journey it took to get there.
all the testing involved, all the people who work behind the scenes to make sure it's safe and high quality.
It's a whole hidden world that most of us never really see, but it impacts our lives every single day.
And that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating.
So thank you for joining us on this exploration of Measurlabs and the world of material testing.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep learning.
Because the world of materials is constantly evolving, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one making the next big breakthrough.
That's what I love about this field. There's always something new to discover.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Nordic Venture Show. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories of innovation from the Nordics.